So welcome everyone. My name is Dr. Yvette Bordeaux, and I am the director of the Master of Environmental Studies program at the University of Pennsylvania. And we are very happy to see everyone here today. And like I said, if you have any questions as we go along, please pop them into the chat room or into the Q&A box, excuse me, and we'll answer your questions as we go. I'm happy to always just stop and answer a few questions before moving on to the next slide. So don't be afraid to ask questions. All right, so I'm going to get started here. This is the Master of Environmental Studies program actually has been around for a while. It was one of the very first environmental studies masters around the country. So we're over 20 years now of environmental excellence. We have over 300 alumni in the program, and they're very active. We have alumni panels, we have alumni mentoring, and it's really great just to see all of our alum interacting with our students. So a couple of things. The program, like I said, is over 20 years old, and we are part of the School of Arts and Sciences. So there are 12 schools at the University of Pennsylvania, like the Engineering School, the Wharton Business School, etc. We are part of the School of Arts and Sciences, which is the largest of the 12 schools. The school is actually so large that we have 3 different colleges, and we are part of the College of Liberal and Professional Studies. The other colleges are for the PhD programs and research masters, and the other college is for the undergraduates in the day program, so the traditional undergraduate program. So College of Liberal and Professional Studies is everyone else, and we're happy to work with them on a regular basis. Now, we are housed in the Department of Earth and Environmental Science. Here's our department building, which is Hayden Hall. Hayden Hall has some fun history that it's named after Ferdinand van Veer Hayden, who was the state geologist of Pennsylvania, and also the geologist that went out and explored Yellowstone National Park and was instrumental in getting that named as the first national park in the country. So we have some great history there. So that's the building, Hayden Hall, and that is where the Department of Earth and Environmental Science is housed, and that's where we are as well. Our faculty in Earth and Environmental Science oversee our master's program and make sure that it's running smoothly and make sure the academics are all up to snuff, and so they interact with you on a regular basis. All right, now we are a professional master's program as opposed to a research master's program. And the difference here is that in a professional master's program, we're really looking to help you get ready for a career in the environment, okay, as opposed to going on for a PhD. So a research master's typically is just preparing you for a PhD and nothing else. If you don't end up going into a PhD program, you're sort of on your own to find a job. We are the reverse of that, right? We are really focused on getting you a position or a job, but we will also help you prepare for a PhD if that is your goal. Okay. And if you're one of those people that's on the fence and you're not sure if you want to go the PhD route or you want to go the work route, this is a great place for you because you can explore both avenues, see which one is best for you, and then move on from there. So we can help with advising, course selection, and so forth. Just as a quick note, Sally is putting some great links in the chat room for you as I talk about different things, so you can check those out. Now, we have some main career areas that our students typically go into, and those include private corporations, government, nonprofits, and NGOs, just to name a few. And a little bit later in the presentation, I'll give you a list of some of the companies that our students currently work for. Also, you'll see some pictures here for each one. I'll try to shout out what each one is, but if I forget, you can check these out. This one is our Intro to Sustainability class attending the Sustainable Brands Conference. And we try to, in a normal world when COVID is not an issue, our classes typically go to, they'll go to seminars around campus, they'll attend conferences as groups. We do a lot of things to get you out there and meeting people and networking. All right. Now, why study the environment in Philadelphia, you might ask? Well, you know, it turns out that we think of Philadelphia as sort of a living, learning laboratory, right? There's a lot going on in Philadelphia, and there are a lot of opportunities to do research, to work with the city government, to work with local nonprofits. And so we think it's actually a fantastic place to learn about the environment and get some real hands-on training and opportunities while you're here. Philadelphia actually is known for its green infrastructure program. This is an opportunity to control stormwater runoff using green methods rather than gray being pipes and vats and things like that. Whereas green infrastructure is using green roofs, swales, rain gardens, and other types of green ways to control that stormwater runoff. So there's a whole program in the city called Clean Cities, Green Cities, Clean Waters, and they are looking to control all of our stormwater runoff so it doesn't flood the rivers too quickly. And that's being run by the Philadelphia Water Department, which often has opportunities for internships. There's the Sustainability Office in Philadelphia, and they are fantastic. They're doing a lot of great work in the city, and you can get involved as a volunteer or an intern with them. Our energy office in Philadelphia, including the Solarize Philadelphia division, has taken on many of our students as interns. Oftentimes you can get these internships during the semester, not just in the summer, which is really a great opportunity. And the Urban Research Station, which is the Forest Service station that is in Philadelphia. So we have the U.S. Forest Service has a station here. They do a lot of research in the city, particularly on urban forestry and watersheds, and you can get involved with them, again, doing internships, research projects, and so forth. So lots of great opportunities right here in the city. The campus itself is really dedicated to the environment. Penn President Gutmann signed the American College and University President's Climate Commitment back in 2007. And we have committed to reduction of greenhouse gas emissions and additional things, including stormwater runoff, recycling, and so forth. We are now introducing Climate Action Plan 3.0. So we continue to revise and whenever we meet certain milestones, create new milestones. So there are opportunities to get involved with the different parts of the action plan. All right. And there's opportunities for research. There are opportunities to help be involved and have a say in the matter. So there's a lot of really great stuff. So Emily's asking if there's much opportunity for internships, volunteer opportunities for working students, and the answer is absolutely yes. All right. Now, it's hard because you're working full time and you're taking classes, but if you have some extra free time, we often can find you internships that are maybe 10 hours a week that you can do on the weekends, evenings, or work it into your schedule. So there are opportunities for you to do various types of projects and volunteer and internship opportunities. And we will work with you to help you find something that works with your interests and your schedule. It's not always easy. That's the only thing. You may have to give up some sleep, but you can do it. Okay, some other things about Penn. Again, we have a lot of green infrastructure projects. So as you know, I mentioned the green infrastructure before. Penn campus is doing some really great projects. So here at the top picture is Shoemaker Green, which is a big green infrastructure project that controls stormwater runoff from the surrounding buildings. And then Penn Park, which is not pictured here, is another green stormwater management project. And then we have our nanotechnology building, which has both green infrastructure in front of it and also a green roof, which is pretty neat. We have over 6,000 trees on our 300-acre campus. And we know this because one of our students did that as an internship project, counting every tree on campus and also recording size, type, health of the tree, and putting it on a map with GPS coordinates. So believe me, that was actually a 2-year project. That was a big one. There was a quick question about approximate class size, and our class sizes typically in our classes are limited to 18 students, okay, in any particular class, if that's what you're asking. And But if you take, and I'll get to the curriculum in a few minutes, if you take classes in other schools, like say Wharton MBA or perhaps city planning or something like that, I have no control over the size of those classes, and some of them can be rather large. So depending on which class you're in, class sizes will be different. So, but our class sizes are limited to 18. There are a couple of classes that are required that can be a little bit larger, and our GIS class typically is a little bit larger. And no, professional and full-time students segmented, I think you mean like, are they separated? No, they're all together in the same classes. They just, the part-time students go through slower, so they only take 1 or 2 classes a semester, whereas our full-time students take 3 or 4. Good questions, guys. So a couple of interesting opportunities for you on the Penn campus include the Water Center at Penn. The Water Center at Penn is actually within the Department of Earth and Environmental Science, so you get to work very closely with our faculty and the fellows in the center, which is really neat. They're always looking for MES students to do projects. They work in the areas of water policy, hydrology, and water infrastructure. And so there are student opportunities for you to attend seminars, to attend conferences that they host, to do paid internships, and also to do research with their fellows. And they also have funding for students who are doing any kind of capstone research that is loosely associated with water, basically. So it could be a policy, sustainability, resilience, all kinds of different areas. If it's related to water, they have funding for you. So that's a really neat opportunity. All right, so there is a quick question here from Juan about corporate partners and main companies. I will be getting to that a little bit later. So if you can hang out for a little bit on that one, I'll get back to you on it, okay? All right, just remind me when we get there. Okay, so the Climate Center for Energy Policy is also a center on campus that you should check out, especially if you're interested in energy policy. So this group is part of the School of Design, and they work in energy policy, energy sustainability, and renewable energy. They have a lot of great seminars and conferences that students are invited to. It's an opportunity to network with these folks. And people from all over the country and all over the world, in fact, come for these to give talks and to interact with students. So it's a really great opportunity to network and get to know people from all over. In addition, there are opportunities for students to do research with their fellows, to do blogs, and to obtain funding to do research over the summer. All right. There's another group on campus called the Wharton Risk Management and Decision Process Center. And these folks do a number of things related to risk. And one of them is disaster risk, which dovetails very nicely with our resilience and adaptation track. So we've had a number of students work with the professors in this center on research, and they have a number of fantastic seminars related to disaster preparedness, environmental, climate, business, all that sort of thing. So there's lots of opportunities to get involved over there. And so that's part of the Wharton School. Now, in terms of our faculty in Earth and Environmental Science, there are 2 types of faculty that you will work with on a regular basis. So one is our research faculty, and their focus areas include soils, atmospheric chemistry, environmental geochemistry, and I should have thrown climate in here as well. And then our professional faculty are folks that work by day and come at night to teach classes for us. And these folks are bringing real world examples of their what they do in their jobs and in their careers to the classroom. So it's a really neat opportunity to learn more. So your classes that you take will be a combination of these both research and professional faculty. Okay. Again, some of the places where these professional faculty come from: the Willistown Conservation Trust, Suez Water, World Resources Institute, Applied Ecological Services, number of ecological or environmental consulting firms, and the US EPA. So we have folks from the US EPA coming in to teach. All right. This is a group with John Friedman from Suez, with a group of students who went to World Water Week that is held every summer in Stockholm, Sweden. And we try to offer that class every other year in the summer. It's usually in like late August. And he takes a group over and introduces people, the students, to folks that he knows. And typically, I think Howard Newkrug is in this picture as well. He also is there. He's another professor in our department, and also the head of the Water Center. And he goes on these trips with the students and introduces them to world leaders in water. Now, I do want to go over the curriculum a little bit. It sounds like we do a lot of water, but we do other things as well. And I want to kind of go over what we do. So first of all, the curriculum is multidisciplinary approach. All right, we are not requiring you to take just courses in environment. We want you to have a well-rounded education. So you'll be taking courses in policy and law and sustainability and so forth. So you're going to get a nice multidisciplinary approach to the field, which, because the environment is interdisciplinary, and you really do need to understand a number of disciplines to do well. All right. The program is tailored to the goals and backgrounds of each student. So if there are two students here right now who both want to do policy, one might want to do policy on food, and another might want to do policy on, I'm going to say resources, natural resources. And so they would have very different courses that they would be taking based on their goals, right? Where they want to go for their career. In addition, it's based on what you've done already, right? So what have you done in terms of your undergraduate degree, your work experience, volunteer work, internships? All of these things come into play when we put together curriculum for you. So it's not a lockstep approach like a lot of universities do, where they say you take these 9 courses and then you get 3 electives and you're done. Here, there are 3 required courses, and the rest are developed with an advisor. So you sit down with an academic advisor that's assigned to you when you come into the program based on your concentration, and they work with you, look at your past, look at where you're headed, and figure out what set of courses are going to get you there. All right, so it's very unique to you. So the program is a 12-course program. Our courses are typically 3 semester hours, so that's 36 semester hours of work. There are the 3 required courses that I mentioned. I'll go through those in a minute, but they're the Pro Seminar, the Research Methods, and the Capstone Seminar. You then take 4 foundation courses and 5 concentration courses. So I'll go through each of these in just a minute, but that's the basic layout of the program. This is Mavish, and she attended the Sustainable Innovation Forum back in 2017. So here's a picture. We like to send our students to conferences all over the world, and if it helps them with their careers or their research, they can get some funding to help them do the trip. All right, so let's start with concentration. So we have this 12-course program, and 5 of the courses are concentration courses. Okay, so this allows the student to acquire the skills and critical perspective necessary to pursue their capstone exercise, which I'll talk about at the end. It also makes you more of an expert in that one field, right? So we really want you to get 5 courses in one of these areas, all right? And so those include environmental biology, environmental sustainability, environmental policy, resource management, urban environment, and resilience, environmental resilience and adaptation. If none of these fit into what you envision your career being, you can choose individualized. And if you choose that, then we will work with you. We'll have an academic advisor assigned to you that will work with you to devise a program that is specific to your needs. One of the more common ones lately that students have been developing is a sort of a environmental energy management type concentration, and they're all individualized, but they're focusing on energy specifically. All right, here's a picture of some of our folks at a UN meeting, watching a presentation given by the UN. Now, some of the courses for credit include field courses. These are the kinds of courses that you can take if you're, say, in the resource management, environmental biology concentrations, maybe resilience and adaptation. All right, so I just wanted to show you a couple of examples. So these are field-based courses. We have the field study of Puerto Rico, avian ecology, and creating gateways to the land through better conservation. So these are all great opportunities to get out in the field and do work. Most of the uh, uh, trips are local, so they're day trips, but yet you can get into some really interesting ecosystems very quickly within an hour's drive of Philadelphia. So that's pretty neat. Um, and the really interesting thing is that even though we're in COVID right now and our campus is shut down, we've been able to run some of these field trips by social distancing and some careful practices. So we've been able to continue that and also videotape the trips for folks who cannot make it to the field. All right. Now, wrong bow in the Q&A has asked about how flexible is it to switch concentrations after you declare. Very easy. It happens a lot, right? So you come here and you think that, sorry, Amy, did you want to answer this?
No, that's just for you to answer it live. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Okay,
Yes.
cool. Thanks. So the very commonly students come in and they think that they get into a concentration, they think that they know what that is, and they get into it and they're like, oh gosh, that's not what I thought it was, but that one over there, that concentration, that's the one I want. Or they get in and they're very focused on, say, sustainability, and then they realize that resource management is really what they wanted. So it's very easy to switch. There's no paperwork involved. You just meet with your academic advisor and you say, the two of you decide mutually that this is a good move for you to change concentrations, and then we just do it in the system. Not a big deal, but we typically want you to make that decision by the end of your 6th course. So halfway through your program, we'd like you to kind of finalize, right? So it doesn't give you a lot of time if you're a full-time student. If you typically take 3 courses a semester, basically by the end of your 1st year, you're going to want to make that decision. Okay, but you can switch back and forth until you figure out exactly what you want to do. But once you've gotten halfway through your program, you really want to start focusing and make sure that you get a good set of classes and you have a good research project planned out so that you can be eligible for the types of positions that you're looking for. All right. Some other field courses, if you're not into going out in the field and working with birds and that sort of thing. We also have some field courses that are actually to locations like conferences. So there's the World Water Week, which I've already mentioned. The Future of Water course actually takes students to Washington, D.C. to meet with lawmakers. World Water Forum actually meets every 3 years. That's the conference is every 3 years, and we normally take our students to the conference, and we set them up with someone who's presenting at the conference so that they work with that person up until the point of going over there, and then they go to the presentations. But they're actually involved with the research and the preparation of the presentations. They also work in some of the booths, like the US booth and so forth, at the conference. So they're very involved. They have to interview speakers. They have to attend all these events. So it's not just going to a conference. There's a lot more to it behind the scenes. There's a lot of work that happens before you actually go. And so you get course credit for this. Now, it was supposed to be Senegal in the spring. They just decided to postpone the conference due to COVID. And so as soon as they pick the new date, we will set the course up and we will send students to Senegal for that conference once it's back online. All right. All right, now there was another piece to this, which was the capstone requirement. So just so far, we've got, there was a pro seminar course, there was a research methods course, and there was a capstone seminar course. Okay, those were the 3 required courses. Now, the pro seminar course is the intro to the program. Everyone is required to take it. We look at the science behind environment, and we also look at how how are we seeing this in, like, right now? Like, what are the issues that are happening right now? And how can we apply some of these scientific principles to what's happening now? And we look at all of the gray areas of these issues, right? So there's a lot of discussion among the students. And we typically do a project. So this year our project is looking at the Paris Climate Accord 20 years later, and starting to look at like the Paris Climate Accord was supposed to have every country was supposed to have made some progress by 2020, and so we're looking at the different countries and seeing how they're doing. So there's a question by Kyle about research projects with UPenn faculty throughout their time in the program in addition to their capstone. Absolutely. So back to the curriculum here, the capstone is a requirement that every student has to do. So it's a thesis. We call it a capstone because it's more applied research than a research project. So oftentimes research projects are more hypothetical, theoretical. They might be really great, and you and your research professor think it's wonderful, but then it just gets put on a shelf and no one really looks at it. We want you to do an applied project that can be used right away. So we typically try to set you up with an organization that you might want to work with. We'll set you up with a research professor that's doing some more applied work, that sort of thing. So the idea here is to get you into a project that will help you with your career goals. Okay. Now it's absolutely okay to work with our faculty on research projects, and we certainly do have students doing that. Typically that then becomes your capstone project, but just so you know, yes, you can do that. So you can work with the Water Center at Penn, you can work with the Climate Center for Energy Policy, with the Wharton Risk Center. They're always doing research projects. You can work with the faculty in our department. Certainly, sometimes students work with faculty in other departments. Like if you're in policy, you might want to work with a political science professor. If you're working on a biology project, you might want to work in the biology department. So yes, the answer is yes. But like typically those research projects do become your capstone project. So they're not usually two separate things because it's a lot of work. They're both a lot of work. If you were to do a separate research project and a capstone, that would be a huge amount. But you can certainly do that. You can certainly, I've had a few students who have worked with a professor, done some work in their labs, and then chosen to do a separate project for their capstone. And so it can be done, it's just more work. Okay. So some example capstone projects include these here, and I believe that Sally she put a link in the chat room to the Scholarly Commons, which is an electronic journal where you can publish your capstone after you graduate. So that's an opportunity to put that then on your resume as a publication. All right, so a few of our students have chosen to do that. Some of our students are looking to actually publish in a regular journal, and so they if they do that, then they don't publish in Scholarly Commons because you really should only publish your research once. Okay. So these are some of the examples, but of course with over 300 alumni, we have a lot of different topics to choose from. So you can check out Scholarly Commons. All right, great. Now, professional development. This is a professional master's program, and so we want to prepare you for going out and working after you finish the program. So a few things that we do, we have a retreat, of what we call our first year retreat, which we have right before classes start in your, right before classes start for you. So typically if you start in the fall, we would have this in late August. And this is an opportunity for you to meet your advisors. We polish your networking skills. We do a few different things to help you with that. And you'll hear from current students about their experiences in the program, classes that they like, that sort of thing. And also all of the Penn resources that are available to you. It's a lot of information on a single day. So we typically then have a month later what we call our second retreat, which is open to all of our students. So not just our first year students who are just coming into the program, but everyone in the program comes to these. And this is an opportunity, again, to hear about research opportunities that are available to you, finding the perfect job or internship. We have career services come in and talk about that. And they also talk about negotiating salaries and things that you can do as you're looking for jobs and internships. And then we have, at the end, we have an alumni meet and greet. And the alumni meet and greet is typically, so at the end of the day, we have a happy hour, and they come, usually it's folks that are still living locally, but sometimes they come up from DC and other places to join us. And it's a really great opportunity to meet folks and learn about what they're doing now and what opportunities might be available to you as you go through the program. Speaking of alumni, we also hold an alumni panel every spring, and our students actually invite 6 alumni to come and talk about their experiences in the program, what they're doing now, what they would do differently if they could do the program over again, their favorite professors. So the questions are up to the students, so we don't control that, so we just sit and listen. And this year, because of COVID, we weren't able to do a live session, so we're doing, Sally is organizing a few mini alumni panels online this fall. So it's been a really great opportunity to bring in some of our alumni that are farther away that typically can't come for just an evening. And so that's been fantastic. We also have certification opportunities for you. So here we have GRI certification, which is the Global Reporting Initiative certification. This is great for sustainability folks who want to get into that field. It's a 2-day course with a test at the end. And we were able to bring that to you online now. So typically we'd have it in Hayden Hall on a weekend. But now with COVID, we've been able to do it online. So that's been a great opportunity. We also have LEED Green Associate certification. This is the first level of LEED certification, so you may have heard of that. It's about energy efficiency in buildings, and it prepares you for the certification test. So you get the training, and then you're ready to take the test. And then once you take the test, you're certified, and you can go on to the next level. And typically the next level requires that you do some work under another LEED certified person. So that takes a little bit more time. There's a question here from Frank about so here you're asking about sustainability in industry and making companies greener. Yes, that's actually our focus in our sustainability. Sustainability means a lot of things to a lot of different people, but our typical focus is in corporate sustainability. So preparing you to go in and work in a company and help them with their triple bottom line, right? Looking at their supply chain, doing life cycle analysis of their products. All of that is what we're focused on here. Certainly you can go into other fields in sustainability through our program, but the big focus is that. And we actually have one of our professors works for FMC Corporation, and she runs their sustainability office in Philadelphia and has hired, I think, over 4 interns in the last 4 years and hired all of them on into FMC after they graduated. And some of them have then gone on to other places like IKEA, I think it was at Walgreens, and Sally can probably tell me some other places where our sustainability folks have gone. But yeah, they typically go to large corporations afterwards. And again, looking to help with corporate sustainability, right? Products and so forth. The other question here is, do students typically TA for undergraduate classes? If so, how soon do MES students typically begin teaching? It's optional, and you have to apply for it. And we typically, I think we have about 6 MES students TAing this semester. So we have a limited number of slots, so not everyone gets one, but we do our best to try to get people in that want to do it. So again, it is optional. Certainly if you're thinking you might go on for a PhD later, it's a great thing to have on your resume. It also pays a certain amount of money to do the TA position, so that's nice. And it's an opportunity to learn more about a particular topic. But yes, so there are TA positions available. You do apply for them. Once you're accepted to the program, we send you an application, and then our undergraduate chair makes the selections and reaches out to you to let you know if you got in or not. Okay. All right. Other certifications that our students can do are OSHA 40-hour HAZWOPER certification, and this is really handy if you're going into environmental consulting. So that's another opportunity. All of these are arranged by Sally Cardy here, and this one in particular is 32 hours online and 8 hours in the classroom learning how to use respirators and all that sort of thing. She organizes them for you. We subsidize them for you. They're typically available like on a weekend so that you can do them outside of your regular class time. And all of these certifications look really great on your resume when you go to apply to positions. Some other things, we do have dual degree programs available, and I won't get into too much detail here, but we have dual degrees with the Wharton School of Business with the MBA. With the law school, we have both the JD and the Master of Law as dual degree options. Medicine, we have the Master of Public Health. Social Policy and Practice has a nonprofit leadership master's degree that we have a dual degree with. And then we have an International Environmental Management triple degree. And I realized right now, I forgot, we have two brand new ones. We have a dual degree with the city planning, so the Master of City Planning, and a dual degree with the vet school now. So you can get your VMD and your MES at the same time. So that's a great intersection between environment and animals. The International Environmental Management is a 3 master's program where you get a master's degree from Penn, Tsinghua University in Beijing, and Mines Paris Tech, which is in Fontainebleau in France. I won't go into too many details here, but we do have a link to a video that I do for dual degrees that you can get if you're interested. We also have certificates available, so you can, beyond just your program, you can also do certificates at the School of Design and Geographic Information Systems, or GIS, land preservation, resilience, energy policy, and in the law school, there's a law certificate, and our students have all done these. So it's about, you can double count some of the courses, so typically you're taking 3 additional courses to get the certification. All right, so those again always look nice on the resume. Now, I want to tell you quickly a little bit about some of our student groups. We have a graduate advisory board, and these folks are it's a student government with Master of Environmental Studies, and our sister program in Earth and Environmental Science called the Master of Science in Applied Geosciences. So the students together form the graduate advisory board in Earth and Environmental Science, and these folks host the alumni panel. They host coffee hours every month, typically right before classes start. You can see the picture here, yummy donuts. And they hold an all-student meeting. They have happy hours, ice skating, whatever they want to do, apple picking, haunted houses, the whole bit. Yeah, so Ariana, I just gave a few examples of the certificates that are available, but you can absolutely do a certificate in nonprofit administration as well. That's through the Master of Public Administration or the Fels Institute of Government. Absolutely. Now, you can also get involved with the WH2O Journal of Gender and Water, and this is an online journal that is now housed within the Water Center at Penn. So you can become an editor for the journal. You can work on their blogging. You can interview people about their work and get published. All right, so you can be an editor for a journal, you can publish in the journal, you can be involved with the layout of the journal. So there are lots of opportunities if you're interested in publishing or just want to see a little bit more behind the scenes of how it all works. This is an opportunity to do that. I think we're in our 7th year now, maybe. Sally probably knows better than I do because she was the head editor for quite a while. All right, so other opportunities for you beyond the Penn campus. I've just talked about Penn so far, but within the area around Penn and Philadelphia and so forth, there are opportunities to do research, not just with our faculty, but also with the Northern Research Station, which is the USDA, the Forest Service. The Tacony Frankfurt Watershed Partnership has opportunities to do volunteer work and research, and the Stroud Water Research Center, where you can do work on riparian restoration, water quality. You can work with fish, you can work with forests. There's a lot of opportunities there. Other extracurricular activities, if that's not enough for you, you can also work on things like the EPA Rainworks Challenge, which is developing a green infrastructure project on the Penn campus. and then presenting that to EPA, and there are prizes for the groups. These are interdisciplinary groups, so typically we have right now the group is MES students, applied geosciences students, city planning students, and engineering students on the team. So we do that every year. There's the Patagonia case competition that's every year, and that again, you can see the picture here. One of the students is an MES student, one of the students is an applied geosciences student, and the rest are Wharton students. So they actually took third place last year in that competition. And there are opportunities to do the case workshops down in Washington, work on intractable problems in West Virginia with the EPA. There's just a lot of great opportunities to get involved with like this volunteer type work. All right, or competitions. We have lots of case competitions. The law school often has environmental law competitions, and they ask for one of our students to come and join them. So there's a question about would a concentration in the urban environment and a dual degree with city planning be redundant? And that's no, it would not. Actually, you would get a lot of great information on our side that is not available on the city planning side. We would just work with you to make sure that your courses are not redundant, right? So we would want to make sure that you get some courses in environmental law, environmental policy, and so forth, which are not available on the city planning side. So you could get a really nice set of courses to dovetail nicely with that dual degree. Is there an audit course form we can see? I'm not sure what you're asking there. Could you give me a little more information on that? All right. So there's also opportunities to publish, and certainly if you're thinking you might want to do a PhD either immediately or in a while, you can work on research. Again, you can work with our research faculty, maybe one of the independent study projects that you do with a faculty member, your capstone project, certainly we'd love to have you publish that. And again, you can do like extra projects. So you can do projects with these outside groups, you can do projects with our faculty, and then publish if you want. You don't have to, but we really encourage it. And then of course, a collaboration with faculty at Penn is always an opportunity. We always encourage our students to present their research at conferences, and it's an excellent networking opportunity, an opportunity to maybe even get jobs. We've got one of our students presenting their poster, and then one of our students presenting his work at a geospatial conference. So really neat opportunities to get involved. We encourage our students to attend special events like our graduate research conference and our All Ivy Environmental Career Fair, which is held at Columbia University every year. We typically rent a bus, and all of our students go on that bus up to Columbia, and there are employers there looking to hire students for jobs and internships. And this year, I believe it's going to be virtual, unfortunately, but they're planning on some really great ways for you to interview if you have an opportunity, if they're interested in you. So we've had students get jobs from this career fair like on the spot. So that's really exciting. Again, internships with Philadelphia Water Department, the EPA, Urban Research Station, FMC, NOAA. Our students are able to get positions that are, like I said, either during the semester or during the summer. So we'll help you. We post positions all the time on our listserv. All right, so the program stats real quick. I see I'm running out of time here. We have about 96 active students this semester taking classes. It's right now it's 67% female and 33% male. Our average class size is 18. Again, if you're taking classes in other departments or schools, which you can do, you can take 4 courses outside of arts and sciences. So that means you could take courses in Wharton, engineering, design, nursing, vet school. You can take classes in any of those schools up to 4. So that's 1/3 of your program can be outside of the school. And those classes could potentially be larger depending on the program. All right. Typical majors, there is no typical major, right? We have students coming in with biology and geology, of course, environmental science and earth science, but also economics, religious studies we've had, all kinds of different things, political science, business. there's no requirement. The only one is if you want to do environmental biology, we do require you to have a biology background or at least enough biology courses to do well in graduate level biology classes, because you will be taking graduate level courses in the biology department as part of that concentration, and we want you to do well in them. All right. International students are about 15% of our group, and they come from these countries currently. All right. Special issues for international students, all concentrations are STEM. Okay, so a lot of students ask about STEM. And the internships, you can do curriculum practical training, which means that you can get paid to do internships in the US. You're eligible for that. And after graduation, you are eligible for the extended optional practical training. Okay, so you get beyond the 12 months because it's STEM certified. Right. Here are the alumni positions. So getting back to Juan's question about companies that hire MES grads, here are just a few. Again, we have over 300 alumni. So this is just a sampling that I chose just to give you an idea. Because we have 6 different concentrations, and even within those concentrations, there are sub-disciplines like in policy and sustainability. There's so many different directions you can go in. Our students seem to go off in a lot of different directions. We're not seeing like all the students go to EPA or all the students go to, something else. We're finding that they're going off in a lot of different directions. And ideally, we are trying to help you get to your goals, so what you want to do. We're going to try to help you get there. We're going to see if we can introduce you to someone in that corporation, maybe an alum, maybe someone we know from professional acquaintances, and try to get you in for an internship, do a research project, anything like that, so that we can get you a foot in the door to that goal that you want. Okay. So next steps. So there's a lot of information, and my dog starts barking. Sorry about that. So application deadlines, if you're applying for the spring semester, which starts January 2021, our deadline is November 1st of 2020. So it's coming up. And for fall, if you're applying for the fall semester, which starts in late August, that deadline is April 1st, 2021. There is a priority deadline of December 15th, which gives you a slight edge in terms of getting in. So it's good to get there, but we do have rolling admissions, so you can apply at any time between now and April 1st, and your applications will be reviewed within 10 days. Once everything is in, we have all of your recommendations and your test scores and your transcripts. Everything's official. They'll send it over to us, and our department will review it, your application, and give you a decision within 10 days. All right. However, as we approach the April 1st deadline, we tend to hold all of the applications and wait until after that deadline, and then review whatever's there last together. So there's a little bit of an edge if you can apply earlier. All right. And application requirements, there's online application. There are 3 essays. How did you become interested in the environment? What would you like to do while you're at Penn? And what would you like to do once you get the degree? All right, those are the 3 questions. There's an application fee. Transcripts from all the colleges and universities you attended. It can be unofficial if they're US schools. Otherwise, they have to go through the WES or other type of evaluation system, and they have to be official transcripts. A resume, GRE scores, TOEFL scores if your first language is not English. We can also take IELTS, and 2 letters of recommendation. Now, is there a minimum GRE score for international students to get accepted into this program? Also, are there financing options for international students? So the answer is we don't have a minimum score. We look at your entire applications, but so I can't say that like if you need to get this number or we're not even going to look at your application. That's not true. They're going to look at your application in its entirety. They're going to look at your grades on your transcript. They're going to look at your recommendations, your writing skills, and your essays. They're going to look at everything and make a decision. Certainly it helps to have good scores, right? But that's not going to, that score is not going to control whether or not you get in. So if you get one low score, it's not necessarily going to keep you from getting in, okay? And we don't have a separate system for international versus domestic students. That's all considered equally. All right. Also, financing options for international students. We really don't have financing opportunities for students. For domestic students, we have subsidized student loans. And again, there's opportunities to do TA positions. There are some research assistant positions available on occasion, and some opportunities to work on campus, that sort of thing. But in terms of like scholarships or anything like that, we don't have any of those for either international or domestic students. A lot of our students pay for their positions through, pay for their program through employers, through outside scholarships, private loans, family, that sort of thing. Okay. Is there a separate deadline for financial aid? Yes, there is a separate, and let's see, I think I don't know what that is. Let's put it that way. Perhaps if you want to email me later, I can look that up for you. It's on our SFS Student Financial Services webpage, so I'm not exactly sure what the deadline is, but I do know that there is a deadline for that. You have to fill out a FAFSA to see what your eligibility is. And the FAFSA deadline, I think, is the same for every school, but Sally might be able to look that up for us. And then the next question is, have you considered waiving the GRE requirement in light of COVID? We actually did for this last semester when COVID was really, everything was shutting down. Now GREs are actually available for most people, even online, so you can take it from home. So at this point, we are requiring the GRE again. If you have 5 years of experience, we can waive the GRE. You just have to send us your resume, and then we get evaluated by our faculty, and then they can waive the GRE requirement. Or if you have some special circumstance that you want to discuss, you can certainly email us, and we can, again, send it to our faculty for evaluation, and they can say yes or no to waiving, okay? But generally right now, we are requiring a GRE for folks who have been out of school less than 5 years. Next question is, can you clarify if all or only certain kinds of full-time professional experiences are considered when applying for the 5+ year professional experience GRE? They're looking at everything. They're looking at the fact that you've been out there working. Doesn't necessarily have to be in the environmental field. All right. There's a whole study done on GRE scores, and they found that after 5 years, people's scores go down because they're just out of that test taking mode, and so they don't necessarily reflect your abilities as well as when you're just coming out of college. It's just another way for our faculty to see your abilities, right? So we want to see as much as we can to make a good evaluation. Let's see. And hi, Riley. So Riley's question is about full-time versus part-time, and can you switch it back and forth? Yes, absolutely. So we have this happen all the time. Sometimes students come in part-time, work through their program, in their last semester, they quit their job, go full-time, and finish. Sometimes students start in full-time status, and then they get a job and they switch to part-time. It's very easy to switch back and forth. There's no special paperwork. You just come in and talk to me, and we work it out, and we adjust your program accordingly, and just kind of figure out when you're going to graduate and plan your courses out, because your course taking patterns may change a bit based on your new work situation. Okay, so we will work with you, and it's very easy to switch back and forth. And can you submit your application before your GR scores are submitted? I believe so. I think you can put in like I think that you can actually put the scores in that you know that you got, and then when the official scores come in, then we can review your application. I don't know if anybody else, Amy or Sally, has any comments on that one.
I know that the application itself will allow you to submit it without certain pieces. So yes, you can technically submit it. It just won't be considered complete until all the pieces are received. Yeah.
Thanks, Amy. Yeah, I know our faculty don't receive the application until everything is in. So you can submit it and get in on under the deadline, right? And then other things can come in later. So oftentimes people will submit on April 1st, but we're still waiting for a recommendation letter or a transcript or a score to come in. So our faculty cannot review it until we get everything because the admissions office won't release it to us. But we will review as soon as we get it, as soon as everything is in. Okay. Um, what is the racial makeup of the program? And I think, Sally, did you answer that in the chat room? I think you did. Oh, wait, no, maybe you just asked the question in the chat room also. Okay. Okay, so what is the racial makeup of the program and what programs are advising available that mentors BIPOC students who are going into STEM? So this is a really interesting question that we certainly have. Sally, do you have any numbers on that on our racial makeup? I don't want to give you like the wrong numbers. That's the only thing.
What I will do, Lucretia, if you shoot your email into the chat, I will email you and I can look through our admissions process.
Okay, and I will definitely make sure that that goes into our next presentation because that's certainly something that people are interested in. I just don't want to give you a number and be like off or whatever. But in terms of, go ahead, Sally.
Mention the environmental justice class maybe that's coming up.
Yeah, so we are doing, we have environmental justice courses available. We're actually working with our faculty right now to change our curriculum and have a requirement for an environmental justice course. And certainly there are opportunities for mentoring of students that are going into STEM. And so between our faculty and also some of our alumni have been really good at mentoring, and also some of our faculty have worked with students individually, particularly ones that might be struggling with the field or just have questions that they want to ask. There's lots of opportunities there. I just don't know the actual breakdown of that right now. Okay. There was a question about would internships count toward 5 years of experience, and yes, sometimes they do, depending on what the internships are. If you really feel like you would like to have your GRE waived, just send an email to lps@sas.upenn.edu and we will and send your resume and we will take a look at it and get you an answer fairly quickly. The faculty are really good about responding quickly to these questions. All right. The average acceptance, the program acceptance rate. Oh shoot, I had this the other day. I got to put these into the presentation because I think when people ask me numbers, I always I don't want to give you a number until I actually have the exact number. I think it's around 52% right now. I'm guessing that's our acceptance rate.
Yeah, I think it's like, 56.
Okay, there you go, 56%. So hopefully that will answer your question, Matthew. And I think that was the question about financing your education, different ways that you can do that. And then I also just wanted to put this up here. We are on social media. And so you can follow us on Twitter and Facebook. And there's a lot going on in our programs right now. And I would really love to have you follow us and learn more from our students, basically. Also mention, just so that you know, we also have a student who is running environmental justice book club. We have another student running a journal club, and I'm trying to think, we've had so many students doing things right now, it's hard to keep track of everybody. But there's just so many things that you can do outside of just classwork, right? Are there DEI focused student groups? What does DEI stand for? And then Iman, as far as I know, there are no restrictions for Iranian students. Of course, getting visas to come into the US is always tricky right now for anybody. But certainly right now we're online, and so you could definitely get into the program and start online. And then once COVID settles down, you should be able to get apply for a visa.
I did put the link for International Student Scholar Services in the chat, and I would encourage you all to download chat because there's tons and tons of links in there, not least of which is our link to Penn Box, which has info sessions about student finance, about the library. We've got alumni panel in there. There's just a wealth of information there. I may have sent that to you individually, but this is really, it's a huge resource for everybody.
Oh, diversity, equity, inclusion. I should have known that. The book club is fun. That's one of the things that we're doing. There's a climate action group, which I forgot to include in the presentation, and they're doing a lot of work with community groups on climate issues, especially since it affects folks differently depending on your income and location, things like that. So we are definitely have students working in these areas. And we also have within our department, we have some groups that are made up of faculty and students working on these issues, particularly in our department, which is a science department. You often find that there are disparities, fewer women, fewer people of color in the sciences. And so our department is aggressively addressing this issue, including the fact that we don't have a lot of people of color in our department teaching. So we're working on that now to make sure that that's something that is changed in the future as we do new hires. So they're really inclusive in terms of having student voices heard in these groups, which is really neat. You don't always see that, especially when it comes to hiring faculty. So, and the book club is really neat, although the books that we're reading are very depressing, I have to say. So, okay, great. And all right, great questions, everybody. Hopefully I answered your questions the way you wanted, but if not, please do feel free to email us and we will get back to you with answers. And again, we have this recorded so that we can put this up online and you can watch it again in case you missed anything. Oh, Sally put her email in there, so if you have any questions, you can email her and she'll get anything to me. But we'll definitely get back to you if you have specific questions or if you want to meet to talk about your specific situation. All right, are there any last minute questions? All right, awesome. Yeah, thank you. Thank you all for coming today. And again, we hope to see you soon and we'll be looking for your application. But again, if you want to talk before you commit, we're happy to chat. And we hope to see you soon.